Tonight, Nigeria will not break up. Vice President Osinbajo assures of Nigeria's continued existence as a united country, challenges the nation's youth to come up with better ideas for leadership. Federal High Court awards 82 billion naira to Ibno community in Akwa Ibom State against the NNPC and Mobil producing Nigeria over oil spillage, orders money to be paid within 14 days. Troops of Operation Hadin K neutralized over 20 Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists camping in Lambom Forest in Borno State. Recover heavy weapons. And Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed faces first electoral test in power as Ethiopians vote amid rising tensions in the country. Plus business, sports, news from Abuja, and later international news from our London studio. Those waiting for Nigeria to break up so they can take its pieces for their own will be sorely disappointed. Those were the words of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, at the maiden edition of the All Progressives Congress Youth Conference, which held at the International Conference Center, Abuja. The event had in attendance APC youth leaders from across the country, party leaders and government officials, while conversations circled around youth inclusiveness in party politics and the positioning of young people for the 2023 general elections.
It was a chance to take a stand for the new guard of the All Progressives Congress, a predominantly young guard bent on taking over a lot of the party's affairs and taking power come the 2023 elections.
For the first time in 20 years, President Muhammadu Buhari, the name Muhammadu Buhari will not be on the ballot. That means that the party will have to go and look for its votes where the votes are residual. The president will transfer some of his votes to us. The party has transformed itself under the leadership of the National Caretaker Committee chairman. But more importantly, the votes are with young people.
The old guard of the party are ready for a change of guard. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, speaking virtually, called for effective leadership recruitment if the APC wants to survive the years ahead. Others call for caution.
I implore you all and every young Nigerian to never despair, nor relent in our joint task of nation building. Remember, we have no other country but Nigeria.
Progressive elements with evil interest in causing confusion, creating and fanning hate and disunity will always rely on you to achieve such negative and patriotic tendencies. You must resist them.
I'm crossing the aisle to the other side now, from youth to the other side. You will also have to be patient and go through the mentorship system in political parties. You must be patient also. You must be on the queue. Be on the queue, you will be recognized.
Not many young politicians here are willing to wait in line any longer.
I totally disagree with Mr. Festus Keyamo. I totally disagree with him. We will not wait. If we wait for him, that tomorrow will never come. Unfortunately, Mr. Festus Keyamo said power is not served, it is taken. We are going to take it.
All political parties in Nigeria have been accused of not having actual ideologies and just being vehicles used to attain political power. This notion is debunked by several speakers at the event, notably the Minister of Works and Housing.
Progressivism itself is an ideology. And I tell people that for me, what being a progressive simply means is a commitment to improving the human condition.
Change can only be implemented by those in political office, says the Vice President, urging youth participation, affirmative action or not, and the proliferation of ideas, noting that these ideas will determine how long it will take the old guard to step aside. He restates the need for a united country fair to its citizens.
Those who advocate the breaking up of the country are terribly wrong. Our size is crucial for geopolitical and economic relevance. All of those waiting on the sidelines, hoping that this big country called Nigeria will break up into bits so that they can pick up the pieces, will be very sorely disappointed.
How positioned the All Progressives Congress is for the 2023 general elections is still to be seen. However, these young minds say they are poised for the job ahead and will wait for their turn no more. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
To legal matters, a federal high court in Abuja has ordered the federal government to pay $951 million, being the 13% derivative sum due as arrears of revenue and payable to the Bayelsa state government. The state government had, in a suit filed on its behalf by Ken and Jemanze SAN, urged the court to compel the Attorney General of the Federation, who was the sole defendant in the matter, to pay 5% of $50 billion recovered as additional revenue that accrued to the Nigerian government. In his judgment, Justice Enyangekwo said the AGF failed to enter his defense in the suit, prompting the court to declare the plaintiff's case unchanged. The suit was filed on February the 12th this year, with the court ruling that the defendant had admitted the claims of the Bayelsa state government in the process. The former filed in reaction to the suit. Now, the Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa and Rivers state government had sued the AGF at the Supreme Court, demanding an upward adjustment of the shares of revenues accruing to the Nigerian government whenever the price of crude oil exceeds $20 per barrel. And after several years of legal battle, reprieve and justice have finally come the way of the people of Ibno community in Akwa Ibom State over oil spills that have caused environmental degradation in their communities. That's because the Federal High Court in Abuja today awarded the sum of 82 billion naira in favor of the community against the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and Mobil Producing Nigeria. Justice Taiwo ordered that the sum must be paid within 14 days, after which 8% interest will be accruable on the principal sum annually.
This is a culmination of 9 years of legal tussle following the allegation of environmental pollution in Ibno community by oil companies. Presiding Judge Justice Taiwo held that the set of witnesses from the defendants proved through their testimonies that the spills did occur, but with no proof of payment of compensation to the affected communities. He described their action as a display of negligence. He therefore awarded the sum of 82 billion naira against the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and Mobil Producing Nigeria.
Congratulations to the people of Ibuna community in Akwa Ibom State, from where 353 oil wells are being produced by ExxonMobil through their subsidiaries in joint venture with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. The whole world is screaming, let's go green, let's go green. In Nigeria, it is let's go black, let's go black. We do hope that people will learn to act responsibly in terms of the environment and the welfare of the larger society when their appetite for fossil fuel has left them to become so reckless while lining up their pockets.
We are going to consult our client and review the judgment, so a pretty long one. And then at the end of it, we'll know the right action to take.
The community expressed light on the outcome of the judgment and urged the oil companies to obey the verdict.
We are trusting that ExxonMobil will find us as their first line security and support us in enhancing the peaceful environment for their business to strive. That without us offering that peaceful environment, they will not be making these billions of dollars. And it's time for them not only to pay back for the damage they have caused, but to show that sense of responsibility that this community means a lot to them.
The oil companies had been sued by the community for the sum of 100 billion naira in compensation for years of economic damages and environmental pollution.
And the controversy and legal battle over the suspension of Twitter in Nigeria is still raging, as 5 non-governmental organizations and 4 journalists have filed a suit against the federal government at the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice in Abuja. The applicants are asking the court to declare the indefinite suspension of Twitter a violation of their human rights under international law. They're also seeking compensation for the violation of their rights. The NGO applicants in the suit are Media Rights Agenda, Paradigm Initiative, Premium Time Center for Investigative Journalism, the International Press Center, and TAP Initiative for Citizens Development, while the journalists are Mr. David Hundain, Mr. Samuel Ogudipe, Ms. Blessing Oladunjoye, and Mr. Nwa Kamri Zachary Apollo. The NGOs and journalists are also alleging that the general situation in Nigeria with respect to human rights has created an environment where freedom of expression is stifled, which, according to them, has contributed to creating a chilling effect on press and media freedom, in which the ongoing suspension of Twitter is a continuation of. No date has been fixed for the hearing of the suit. Away from legal matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is really bracing for future elections and with new strategies too. The latest addition is the setting up of an online portal for eligible voters who are currently not on the country's voter register to get registered ahead of the general election come 2023. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu says the portal will help address the challenge of overcrowding at the continuous voters registration centres. The Commission plans to continue the exercise on a quarterly basis for 1 year, beginning from Monday, June the 28th.
The expansion of voters' access to polling units prepares the ground for the discharge of another important responsibility of the Commission. The registration of eligible Nigerians as voters is one of the immediate tasks before the Commission. Consequently, in the next 1 week, that is from Monday, the 28th of June 2021, the Commission will resume the continuous voter registration nationwide. In doing so, the Commission is introducing a portal to enable eligible Nigerians to commence registration as voters online before completing the exercise physically at designated centers nationwide. We intend to undertake the CVR exercise over a period of at least 1 year. Just like the expansion of voter access to polling units, the Commission appeals to the media for support so that this novel idea will also be successful. The CVR, that's the continuous voter registration, will be a major issue for discussion at this meeting.
And to security, the clampdown on the activities of Boko Haram terrorists continues as troops of the Operation Hadinkai in the northeast, in collaboration with the Air Task Force, say they have killed several Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists camping around Watek in Lambom Forest of Borno State. A statement from the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, says the troops gallantly overran the insurgents with heavy gunfire from both land and air, killing over 20 of them. Brigadier General Nwachukwu adds that heavy fire weapons and arms, including 3 anti-aircraft guns, 3 AK-47 rifles, 2 gun trucks, aside 2 other gun trucks that were destroyed by the troops, were captured by them. In part 2, after the break, Niger State Governor meets with parents of abducted school children in Tegina, gives assurance of their rescue. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Nigeria will not break up. Vice President Osinbajo assures of Nigeria's continued existence as a united country, challenges the nation's youths to come up with better ideas for leadership. Federal High Court awards 82 billion naira to Ibano community in Akwa Ibom State against the NNPC and Mobil producing Nigeria over oil spillage, orders money to be paid within 14 days. Troops of Operation Hadinkai neutralized over 20 Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists camping in Lambom Forest in Borno State, recover heavy weapons. And Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed faces first electoral test in PAR as Ethiopians vote amid rising tensions in the country. If there is anything the parents of the students abducted from an Islamic school in Tegina, Niger State, desire most at this time, it is for their children to return home safely. And that's the assurance from the state governor, Abubakar Bello, as he met with the parents at the palace of the Emir of Kagara today. 136 students of the Islamic school are still in captivity, and the governor is urging them to exercise patience as local vigilantes have been employed to complement the efforts of security agencies in the rescue operation.
The usually busy road network in Tegina, Niger State is almost bare. Residents that move around do so only because they must. Others now prefer to stay indoors. It's been 21 days since the abduction of 136 students from this Islamic school, and the escape of some brought a glimmer of hope. However, a reminder that the vast number of those still in captivity quickly overshadows the joy. This is what has brought the state governor, Abubakar Bello, to meet with parents of the abducted students at the palace of the Emir of Kagara, where he assures them of the safe return of their children. He also wants them to work with the government for a speedy end to the matter.
Everyone should come out and cooperate with the security agencies as well as the government.
The chant of enthusiasm. These men, picked from various security agencies, are mandated to comb the forests in search of kidnappers and to rescue the students.
With the number of vigilantes that are here to support the police and the military, I'm hoping we're able to guard and protect most of the schools. We can't fold our arms anymore. We are determined to take necessary steps to deal decisively, using whatever means to apprehend those are involved.
Their motivation for the task ahead: the safe return of their children. Governor Bello lifts the spirits of the men even further.
You have made us proud. You have made Nigerian police and civil defense proud. You have made Nigeria and Nigerians proud.
Some parents are not in agreement with the plan by the state government, fearing backlash from the kidnappers. But at this point, this seems to be the only option, which authorities believe may just bring the needed results and return the children to their homes.
And from Niger State to Plateau, where the fight against insecurity is being intensified by the state government. And one way Governor Simon Lalong is matching words with action is to support the police with logistics items, vehicles and motorcycles to track criminals, even when they hide in rough terrains. The Inspector General of Police was in Jos, the state capital, to receive the items.
The renewed attacks by armed bandits on some communities in Plateau State is spurring the state government to respond swiftly to the menace and draw up new strategies to ensure safety of lives and property. Governor Simon Lalong and the Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba are here to kickstart the move for improved security in the state with the procurement of logistic items, 50 security vehicles and 200 motorcycles by the state government to change the narrative.
These vehicles will be equipped with communication gadgets to enhance rapid response and continuous surveillance, while the special security motorcycles will enable the security agencies access remote locations which criminals use as hideouts to launch attacks and retreat. There is no more hiding place for criminals in Plateau State.
I hereby commission them in the name of Allah, the Beneficent Mercy.
Governor Lalong then hands over the security gadgets, cars and motorcycles to the Inspector General of Police. The gesture is appreciated by the police chief, who believes the gadgets will go a long way at improving response to security challenges in Plateau State.
By dedicating scarce state resources towards supporting the federal government in securing lives and property in this crucial stage of our nation's history, you have given effect to the scarce position of the Constitution of the Federal Republic, which provides that security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of any government.
There's also a demonstration of the competence and readiness of the officers to tackle crime in the state. With the support from the Plateau State government, residents of the state, and particularly those in communities affected by the violent attacks, look forward to a time they can sleep with their eyes closed in a more secure and peaceful Plateau State.
And it's over to our Abuja studios for more stories. Here's Linda Akibe. Hello, Linda.
Hello, Millicent. At least 2 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs have been seized from January to May 2021 in the country. That's according to the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, General Buba Marwa, who says 2,180 arrests, including 5 drug barons, have been made by the agency within the same period. Our correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
June 26 is World Drug Day, and the man at the helm of affairs at the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency is given the scorecard of the agency since its assumption of office in January this year.
Efforts have translated into encouraging results.
He has good news to share on the fight against illicit use of drugs in Nigeria.
The agency's offensive action against drug cartels across the country, launched some 5 months ago, has yielded over 2,000 arrests of drug traffickers and at least 5 drug barons, the seizure of over 2 million kilograms of assorted illicit drugs. We have filed over 2,000 drug cases in court and recorded over 500 convictions in this time.
There have been calls in recent times for cannabis to be legalized in Nigeria, but General Maro says it's a no deal for the NDLEA.
Ondo State is the greatest grower of this substance, and the NDLEA will continue to burn any farm that we find and arrest the perpetrators of cannabis. It is dangerous, it is bad for our health, we will not agree.
According to a 2018 report on drug use in Nigeria by the UNODC, the prevalence of use of illicit substances as of 2017 stood at 14.3 million people aged 15 to 64 years, with 10.6 million said to be cannabis users, 4.6 million pharmaceutical opioid users, and 238,000 on amphetamines.
This is to strengthen action and cooperation.
But it seems the figure may have increased, as explained by the UNODC country representative.
The use of pharmaceutical opioids for non-medical purposes, so essentially tramadol, codeine, and similar pharmaceutical psychotropic substances that are being used for non-medical reasons. There's about 7 million users in total presently in Nigeria. Again, tendency growing.
As the fight against use of illicit substances in Nigeria continues, there's a need for more awareness on the danger of drug abuse, especially among young people. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
In a bid to stimulate rapid technological growth of the country, the federal government has announced the establishment of a National Institute of Technology with 6 campuses in all the geopolitical zones of the country. The permanent secretary in the Federal Ministry of Education, Sonny Echono, says President Buhari approved a takeoff grant of 4 billion naira each for the universities of technology and 5 billion naira each for the universities of health sciences. He explains that the establishment of 2 specialized universities in health, nutrition and medical sciences to be located in Bauchi and Osun states are meant to reduce medical tourism to countries like India, the UAE, Egypt and the US. When the news at 10 returns, the President appoints Secretary and Board members of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Plus, the federal government gives assurance of improved business climate for organized private sector in the country. That's in business news. Please stay with us. You're welcome back to the news at 10, coming to you live from Abuja. The President has appointed new board members for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and he's asking the Senate to confirm their appointment.
Mr. George Abang Epungu is now the secretary of the commission, Lukman Mohammed from the South-South, Anumba Deze from the South-East, Kale Rahim Adishino from the North-Central, and Yahya Mohammed from the North-East have all been appointed as board members. A statement from the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation says the EFCC has been operating without board members since 2015. The appointment is for a tenure of 5 years. The Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says it is an act of reciprocity to cite projects in different localities of the state who entrusted him with the mandate of managing their commonwealth. He mentioned this during the flag-off exercise of Omerulu Internal Roads in Ikwere local government area of the state, performed by former governor of the state, Celestine Omehia. Governor Wike also notes that road infrastructure creates network between communities and engenders economic activities for agrarian areas.
It's the beginning of week 4 in the series of projects inauguration and flag off to mark the 6th year in office of Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State. In company of guests, the governors in Omerelu, one of the communities in the Ikwere local government area, to flag off the construction of an 11.6-kilometer internal road network. A gesture seen by the stakeholders as a great show of love.
His Excellency, this community made requests from you, and you told them clearly that you will do what they never imagined that can be done for them. You were able to keep the most important promise by giving Omerelu people this internal road, sir. It is the highest thing you have done for the people of Ikwere local government. The PDP family has shoulders to walk round.
Today, you may have come to flag off. As you are flagging off, you will notice that the whole Omerelu is joyous. We're in a joyful mood. We are rejoicing.
For Governor Nyesom Wike, this is in fulfillment of a promise to a people whose support have been unwavering.
I was worried how a community like Omerelu, till this period, will not have access road. I say it for Ikwere local government because I know the stiff opposition you had. I know how they fought all of you. I know how you stood firm. All those things they did not do, I will do it. Your Excellency, the Deputy...
Before flagging off the project, a former governor of Rivers State, who is an indigent of the local government area, describes Governor Wike as a pace setter.
You are a pace setter in the administration and political system in Nigeria. You are a pace setter because no governor in the whole Nigeria before you has set up a program of foundation laying and commissioning for more than 2 to 3 months going, unlike you.
When completed, the road will no doubt improve the local economy and ease movement in this community located along the Port Harcourt-Owerri Road.
And staying in the South-South, some state government workers are accusing the Cross River State government of not payrolling them 3 years after the engagement. The workers, during a protest to the governor's office, want government to pay the 1,800 workers from different MDAs across the state. But the head of service has promised to attend to their demands soon.
The early morning rainfall isn't enough to deter these youth from coming out. They are here in Calabar from different parts of Cross River State. They chant and march their way to the gate of the governor's office, all in a bid to call attention to their plight. The protesters, representing the 1,800 workers across different ministries, departments and agencies, are yet to be paid more than 3 years after being employed by the state government.
We go to work every day, yet we don't receive a dime. As it stands now, there are mothers here, there are fathers here, with bills to pay, rent and school fees, and it has been very hard. The cost of living is so hard. And we have come to tell the governor what is our crime. What wrong have we done? He should please forgive us.
The youth say this is not the first time they're taking the option of demonstration to make their voices heard.
I could remember vividly, even when we protest with the delisted, we were addressed by His Excellency at the stadium, and he assured us that there will be a payment, like he's going to pay us. That's after the delisted. Ours was supposed to come as second batch, but since then, these people have received salary for over 11 to 1 year now, 11 months to 1 year, sorry, and we've not received anything, we've not heard anything. Each time we come to them, we send our representatives to them, they will tell us, we are still working on it. How long do we continue to wait?
Now the state government is asking for more time to address the issues.
That issue is being handled. What happened is not anybody's fault, but the mere fact that the last personnel audit exercise, some files were omitted, inadvertently omitted, but the issue is being handled. Like I had assured the youths, His Excellency, the Governor of Cross River State, Senator Professor Ben Ayade is a father.
While this assurance subsists, the workers promise to continue this agitation till all their requests are granted.
Police authorities in Ebonyi State have paraded over 60 suspected criminals for different crimes in the state, with an assurance that they would not relent in the fight against criminality. The State Commissioner of Police, Aliyu Garba, made the promise in Abakaliki while briefing the media on recent breakthroughs in the command's fight against crime. Mr. Garba explains that the newly inaugurated Operation Restore Peace is recording a lot of successes. And that's all from Abuja. Now to Anne for business news.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Linda. Hello and welcome to Business News. The federal government says it will continue to interact and engage with the organized private sector in the country while improving the country's business climate. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, made this statement today during a virtual interaction with senior government officials and business leaders from the top. He also told the delegation that the federal government will follow up with all issues raised, particularly suggestions and proposals from the future of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. On his part, the leader of the OPS delegation, Taiwo Adeniyi, mentioned that there has been a general optimism about medium-scale businesses that the AFTA will generate positive effects on Nigeria's economy. The Senate Committee on Trade, Industry and Investment says plans are underway to establish offshore banks for free trade zone operators and businesses. According to that statement by the Nigerian Export Processing Zone Authority, the National Assembly will ensure permits are granted by the central bank to establish the offshore banks. The statement also adds that the banks would allow operators to have unrestricted access to foreign exchange. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates has reimposed the suspension of flights to and from Nigeria with effect from today, June the 21st, until further notice. That suspension is coming barely 48 hours after it lifted a 4-month ban on flights connecting the country with Dubai. According to a statement on its website, the country's flagship carrier, Emirates Airline, mentioned that in line with the government directives, it will not accept customers traveling between Lagos and Abuja, while passengers who have been to or connected through Nigeria in the last 14 days are not permitted to board from any other point to the UAE. On Saturday last week, the UAE Supreme Committee of Crisis and Disaster Management announced the easing of travel restrictions for inbound passengers arriving from Nigeria, South Africa and India, which was scheduled to commence on June the 23rd. The Economic Community of West African States says it plans to reduce its current 15-member commission to 7 with effect from March next year. Now, that decision, which was taken at the end of the 59th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government that happened in Accra, Ghana, is aimed at cutting down cost. The new 7-member structure commission will consist of the president, the vice president, and 5 other commissioners. On Sunday, ECOWAS member countries at the Accra meeting agreed to launch the region's single currency, the ECO, by the year 2027. More than 50 billion naira, that's the amount lost in profit-taking at the local stock market today as last-minute sell-off in the shares of Boa Cement overturned the gains recorded today. Ini John Mekwa has the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Well, the equities market can sometimes come up with surprises. At intraday and even a few minutes before the close of trading, the all-share index was actually in the green, but it did not end that way. The bear resurfaced and changed the color of the day. And so in contrast to Friday's trading, the NGX shed over 0.2%. Expectedly, the equity cap also went down, but not by so much of a margin. It's still within the 20 trillion naira mark. We traced a drop in the market to the industrial goods sector, which lost more than 1%, followed by insurance, which also decreased by almost the same margin. All the counters we follow were up, though not so impressive, but it was slightly a positive market breadth with 18 gainers and 17 losers. But the market lost 54 billion naira, indicating that investors did a lot of profit taking today. Well, not a good way to start the week, but we look forward to better days this week. That's the Stock Market Report. I'm Ini John Mekwa.
That's business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Onwawodo. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Millicent.
Thank you, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed faces first electoral test in power as Ethiopians vote amid rising tensions in the country. Plus other international news from our studio in London. Please stay with us. Ethiopians today voted in general elections that Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's Prosperity Party is set as favourite to win most of the seats in parliament. However, the polls have already been marred by complaints by the opposition of irregularities in two regions. Election Board Chief Bertukan Midekse says several opposition parties had complained their agents were beaten and their barges confiscated in two regions. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. A Hong Kong pro-democracy newspaper has said its board will decide whether or not to close the publication at a meeting on Friday. The move comes after the Apple Daily's editor and 4 other directors were arrested and the company's assets frozen. The board say they can no longer access its funds. The Apple Daily is frequently critical of mainland Chinese leadership. Police said that the newspaper had published more than 30 articles calling on countries to impose sanctions on Hong Kong and mainland China since 2019. Early results indicate both President Emmanuel Macron and his opponent Marine Le Pen will fail to make the gains they were hoping for in the first round of regional elections in France. Mr. Macron's centrist party is projected to gain more than 10% of the votes, just enough to take part in the second round next weekend. Ms. Le Pen's far-right National Rally has also fallen short of expectations. Both are trailing the Conservative Party, Les Républicains. The first round of France's regional elections were dominated by security issues and a record low turnout. The acting Prime Minister of Armenia has claimed victory in a snap parliamentary election. Preliminary results from all 2,008 polling stations give the Civil Contract Party of Nikol Pashinyan 55% of the votes. The parliamentary election has been called in an effort to defuse a political crisis following Armenia's defeat in the war with Azerbaijan over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. The opposition, however, questioned the credibility of the results and said it would not recognise Pashinyan's quick claim to victory. Despite warnings from health bosses, up to 10,000 Japanese fans will be permitted at Tokyo 2020 Olympic venues. Overseas spectators are already banned, but organisers said domestic fans could attend, providing crowds did not exceed 50% of the venue's capacity. Fans will not be allowed to shout or speak loudly and must wear face masks at all times. The decision comes despite the release of a report by Japanese medical experts that said holding the games without spectators was the least risky and most desirable option. The United States Navy has carried out explosives trials to test a new aircraft carrier off the country's east coast. The 40,000-pound explosion was detonated as part of a test to assess the carrier's ability to withstand battle conditions. The The US Geological Survey registered the explosion as a 3.9 magnitude earthquake. Following the trials, the warship will return to a dry dock to undergo modernization, maintenance and repairs. Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, is celebrating his 39th birthday. The royal family have posted a message on the monarchy's official Twitter account wishing him a very happy birthday alongside a picture on the balcony of Buckingham Palace. William is the first child of Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne, and Princess Diana. And finally, an 80-year-old man has shot to fame in France after becoming inseparable to a feathered friend. Wherever Xavier Bougette goes, this white female pigeon called Blanchorn goes with him. Xavier rescued the pigeon when she was very young, and she has been by his side ever since. When asked how he managed to train the bird to be so tame, he replied, "There is no trick, just mutual respect." And that's your international news around the world in 5. And now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Time now for some sports news, where the Court of Arbitration for Sport, that's CAS, has reduced to 5 years the suspension for alleged corruption of former Nigerian national team coach Samson Siasia in a match-fixing affair. The court ruled that the life ban imposed by FIFA in April 2019, after Siasia was found guilty of agreeing to join a match-fixing ring in 2010, was disproportionate. The CAS ruling upheld the guilty verdict, but then reduced the length of the ban and set aside the additional fine of $54,000. Georgina Wijnaldum scored twice as the Netherlands completed a perfect group stage at Euro 2020 by comfortably beating North Macedonia 3-0 in Amsterdam. The Dutch captain, who signed for PSG from Liverpool just before the tournament began, scored twice in the second half at the Johan Cruyff Arena after Memphis Depay had put them in front. Meanwhile, Austria joined the Dutch in the knockout following a 1-0 victory over Ukraine in Bucharest. A Lucas Hradecky own goal and a late Romelu Lukaku strike saw Belgium beat Finland 2-0 in St. Petersburg to top Group B. Belgium dominated possession but lacked fluidity in a match played at a slow tempo. On either side were able to put any flowing attacking moves together in the tepid first half, and the best chance of it landed at the feet of Jeremy Doku. Also in Group B, Denmark produced a scintillating performance after they beat their opponents, Russia, by 4-1. The Tokyo 2020 Olympic torch relay completed its 3-day tour of Miyagi Prefecture when it arrived in Sendai City earlier today. With no emergency health procedures in place in Miyagi, spectators were able to come out onto the street to cheer the relay on its day's journey from Yamamoto Town on the eastern coast of Japan. And that's a wrap on sports news.
Thank you, Tunde. And the main news again. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, today said Nigeria will not break up, and he assured youths of the continued existence of Nigeria as a united country. The Vice President also challenged the nation's youth to come up with better ideas for leadership. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Morgan. Have a good night. Stay safe.